be mad at that. But for me, it's about justice. Because if you owe us a debt, which America does, which many states and cities do, of course, those are part of America, corporate America does, and then you can get into the international, multinational corporate debt, along with educational institutions, then it should be paid. And if it's not been paid hundreds of years later, and the people that are owed this debt are suffering, and there's a direct line between the debt that's owed and the suffering that's occurring in the form of the wealth gap, in the form of health disparities, in the form of the continued harms within the economic space, the finance sector, housing, and certainly education, then it becomes an urgent matter of justice. And that's why it's important to me. It's not about my individual check, although, like I said, I would not be mad at that. It's about dismantling the harms that continue to be perpetuated all these years later. And then the finger is pointed at us like we're stupid, cursed, lazy, problematic. We're the problem. If you steal my car, and then a year later, or 2 years later, or a couple hundred years later, I am struggling to get to work because I don't have a car, and then you blame me for being lazy and not wanting to go to work, even though you're driving my car. Maybe you sold my car. Maybe your granddad sold my car, and now you're living off the profits of what that car was able to offer to your family. Then that's an injustice that has to be fixed. And that's how I look at it. There's a clip going around on social media right now with Charlie Kirk, speaking of unabashedly evil right-wing schemers, the Machiavellians of the new Confederates, in which he disingenuously says, black people commit more crime, we do this, we do that. And it's based on these statistics. The statistics themselves are faulty, and he's exaggerating. But even without the faulty statistics, there's the fact that you can say, well, a third of the people in prison are black, so therefore black people commit more crime, which absolutely is not true. But if you conveniently say that and you leave out the fact that we're arrested more unjustly, that we're profiled, and then after being arrested more, we're more likely to be charged because of discrimination, bias, anti-blackness, then even if we were a third of all the people in the prison, it doesn't mean we commit more crimes. It means we are more likely to be charged with crimes, arrested, convicted, not because we are more dangerous or crime prone, but because we are targeted by the justice system, by law enforcement, by the laws themselves. And look, I'm not woe is me, target, woe is me, I'm a victim. I'm not that. I'm a victor. We are victors. We will be victorious. We continue to rise, like Maya Angelou said, and still I rise. And then I sometimes add other words after that. But the fact of the matter is, it's not about crying and moaning and being a victim and making excuses. It's about understanding the objective conditions and obstacles that we face so that we can overcome them and so that we can truly realize what tools are needed to rise above this. How do you close the wealth gap? You can't close the wealth gap with pennies, with grants, little grant here and there, with a scholarship that you then shut down, i.e. affirmative action. It's going to take a full and robust repayment of the debt and repair of the harm. And that's why it's important to me. That's why it's important to me. It's about my community, my people. It's about my grandparents and great-grandparents. It's about my great-great-grandma, Adelphia, who was born into slavery. And released as a teenager by the Emancipation Proclamation. And then it's about my kids and grandkids and their grandkids. It's about our place in the world. It's about our ability to thrive. That's what it's about for me. Love to hear from you, whatever's on your mind, whatever it's about for you, not just reparation. Your activism, your commitment, your change making. And we got a lot of space for you this day. 800-920-1580. This is a great day to call. And let's talk. I want to talk some about Prop 36 and Proposition 6. We're going to have people in on both sides of these issues, but I want us to understand that these are two of the most important things on the election menu, otherwise known as your ballot. And one of them, Measure 6, Proposition 6, comes out of the reparations movement. It was a bill that it was a proposal that turned into a ballot measure. And so that's a yes on 6. That means we're basically ending slavery in the state of California. Now we can actually if we can pass this, we can really celebrate Juneteenth in 2025. 800-920-1580. And speaking of Crenshaw, speaking of local, speaking of right around here, where I'm broadcasting live from Leimert Park, Africatown, USA, Fred is on the phone. Good morning, Fred. But which Fred? Which Fred from the Crenshaw district?
Hi. Oh, yeah, hi. Yeah, there you go, Fred from the Crenshaw district. Yeah, I want to touch upon two things real quick. The reparation issue. Now, if it turns out that Governor Gavin Newsom does not sign those bills on the 30th, then the next step would probably be to sue him at the United States Supreme Court level. I saw an advertisement here on the TV yesterday. He feels that this is a local issue, which would be the county, as opposed to taking it to the state. So he has so far vetoed, saying that he wants...
you know what? I don't know where you're getting your information, Fred. The governor signed the original reparations bill that was created by Dr. Shirley Weber. And although we know that the governor had amendments to the bill to stand up a Freedmen's Bureau and the bill to create a funding mechanism, which were two that were not brought up for a vote by the Legislative Black Caucus, he did not say outright that he would veto them. So we don't know that. And we already have a county reparations motion from former senator, I call her senator now, she's a supervisor, Holly Mitchell. We have a city reparations commission, which just released their report. So it's not either or, it's both and. We have city, we have county, we have a state commission, which we're now trying to implement the recommendations that were put in place, and we're still pushing for federal legislation. Go ahead, Fred.
Yeah, hon. Okay, well, Channel 7 had brought that up. That's why I want to brought that up. And then I was thinking about the election, and I guess you know this coming Sunday, 6 o'clock, Channel 7, District Attorney George Cascon will be debating his counterpart, Huntsman. You're going to check that out, right?
Yeah, I mean, I expect them both to be on this show as well, so...
Yeah, hon. Mark Brown is going to be the moderator. And then I'm glad that our sister Kamala Harris is doing real well. She's 5 points ahead of Donald Trump.
Well, that depends on... hold on. That depends on which poll you look at, Fred, because the polling that came out yesterday had him making some progress and leading in Arizona. So I don't want us to get, soft and think that we got this.
Yeah, because Arizona is a Republican state. But we all got to get together and get behind our sister November 5th. That is going to be, like my dad would say, the real showdown. And I like the way she did the debate. She trounced Trump, and even though Trump won the toy cause, and she said, now, do you want to go forward or you want to go backward? You want to go forward, you go with the Harris team. You want to go backwards, you go with Donald Trump. And now a week from today will be the two VP between I think it's Walsuck and J.D. Vance. J.D. Vance is nothing but a joke. Trump is a joke. If the people vote for Trump, he says he doesn't know nothing about Project 2025. He'll lie. Two of his henchmen are going to be Mark Meadows and Ben Carlson. So as my dad would say, you got to read the writing on the wall before you vote for somebody. You got to do your homework.
Yeah, absolutely. I am actually concerned about the Walz-Vance debate, which is October 1st. That's the vice presidential one. Because Tim Walz said that he's not a good debater. He told that to the Harris team when he signed on with them. He admitted that's not his strong suit. And J.D. Vance, although he makes a lot of idiotic statements, is a Yale-trained lawyer. So he will be a formidable foe. And now I find him to be extremely condescending, and he says a lot of lies. But when you deal with someone who lies a lot in a debate, it can be very difficult, right? How much do you fact check them? Do you have the ability to do it in real time, especially when they're able to rapid fire the lies the way Trump does? It's not easy. I've debated many a Republican on national television and radio. And the ones like the Project 2021 ones, that's another, it's Project 21, not 2021. That's another black Republican think tank. Or the MAGA ones. They will just rapid fire lie on you. And so you have to be able to either fact check in real time or find another means of exposing their lies, which means you're automatically on the defensive and you don't get to make your own points. I am very worried about the vice presidential debate. Now, I will say this. Walz is the one that cracked the code for ruffling MAGA feathers with the whole weird thing, right? He did that. And if he can stick to that inspiration that he gets having been a coach, having been a teacher for so many years, dealing with young people and the way they, know how to take each other down, given the immaturity of these folks, emotional immaturity of Walz and Trump. Not Walz, Vance and Trump. Then he could do okay. He could win. He could crush him. He's very smart. He's got great policies, but he has said that debating is not his strong suit. And we know that Vance is going to come prepared. He's a lawyer. He went to Yale. He says crazy things that don't make sense, and he says a lot of prevarications, but he's not stupid. And so that's definitely going to be one to watch, Fred. You there? You want to land for me? Yeah.
1 minute to Trump. He up there talking about where the election was stolen. Oh, really? Why didn't he take it to the Supreme Court? That's the law of the land. The last 3 judges he appointed Republican, none of them would touch that with a 10-foot pole. So I would tell everybody out there that we got to get behind the Harris and Walz campaign for Tuesday, November 5th. And you have a good one. You're a great co-host. I hope to get on next week.
All right, Fred, good to hear from you. Fred, call 800-920-1580, and you can do the same, 800-920-1580. This is a place where we're amplifying black and progressive voices around the clock. KBLA Talk 1580.
She's reclaiming her time on KBLA Talk 1580. More First Things First with Dominique DiPrima when we come forward.
To help combat climate change, LADWP is helping neighborhoods have better access to electric vehicles by awarding nearly $130 million in EV rebates to customers just like you. From big savings on used EVs to building new charging plazas, LADWP is charging ahead to help all Angelinos experience the benefits of EVs. Get rebates of up to $4,000 for a used EV and $1,750 for a charger. Learn more at ladwp.com/EV. That's ladwp.com/EV.
Tabitha Smiley's new book, The Covenant with Black America, 20 years later, is now on sale everywhere. This classic text shot to #1 on the New York Times bestsellers list almost 2 decades ago. If you have the original book, you will surely want to get this 20th anniversary edition with powerful new contributions from today's leading voices. This 20th anniversary edition presents a compelling blend of historical insights and contemporary urgency in this critical and unprecedented election year. Get your copy of The Covenant with Black America 20 years later today.
Are you wet shaving? You'll get razor bumps.
Nah, Pops, I'm good with Gillette Skin Guard. How long you been growing that beard Mama hates anyway?
Since 77. I shaved and got ingrown so bad.
That's why I use the Gillette Skin Guard razor, face scrub, shave gel, and moisturizer. So I don't have to worry about new razor bumps or shaving irritation.
Gillette Skin Guard, huh? Your mama's gonna love this one.
The best a man can get keeps getting better with Gillette Skin Guard. Buy now at a retailer near you.
Pros, now's your chance to save big during Pro Savings Days at Lowe's. Right now, save big on appliances like the GE Stainless Steel Kitchen Suite. Plus, save $40 on 5-gallon pails of Valspar Reserve, Valspar Defense, and Valspar Stain. Shop Pro Savings Days today for big savings on everything you need to get the job done right. Because Lowe's knows pros. Valid through 9/27 while supplies last. Selection varies by location.
We've got a lot to talk about.
Hey there, it's Karen.
And I'm Ernest. We're the co-hosts of Food for Thought with Karen and Ernest here on KBLA Talk 1580. Make sure you check us out Saturdays at 8 p.m.
And our rebroadcast happens on Sundays at 7 p.m. We'll be talking about the art of dining. We'll be giving food tips, talking to sommeliers, chefs, concierges, all the food influencers. Everything food, everything dining. And sometimes with some of our friends just hanging out and talking food.
And when you listen to our show, we have a segment called Hot Dishes. Sometimes unpopular opinions, but we said what we said and we meant what we meant.
Also, we do food reviews with who's hot and who's not.
Yeah, you make sure you guys check out Food for Thought with Karen and Ernest here on KBLA. We've got a lot to talk about.
Unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got your black. Your ancestors' favorite radio station, and your favorite morning show host. Let's get back to Dominique DiPrima right now.
You know, this morning I woke up feeling a little, I'm going to say dismayed, if that's the word, because, and I prayed, I tried to pray it off, talk myself off the ledge, have God talk me off the ledge, because of the deception that's going on around this election. And because some of us are being tricked. And I know this happens every election, but it feels like it's getting more sophisticated, more intentional, more evil. And I am concerned that folks are getting tricked into voting against our own interests again. And I know I said this yesterday when I was talking about the 3 strikes, right? The Proposition 184. Believe it or not, I was on the radio when that thing passed. And I was struggling, trying to tell people, no, this won't make us safe. Vote no, vote no, vote no. But people didn't listen. We were in the middle of the crack era. Everybody was tired of the crime. Tired of, as much as folks talk about the unhoused, which is our crisis of, 2020s, of the 2020s. Back then it was crackheads and carjackings, and everyone thought, well, let's just pass this draconian law to keep people in jail forever, and that'll clean up our communities. and it'll keep us safer. And I kept arguing, no, it won't. You can't arrest your way out of these problems. You can't incarcerate your way out of these challenges. We have to have a humanitarian approach. We can't just throw people away or warehouse them. And yet, a lot of people believe that that was the way towards safety. And you all voted that crap in. And then we've been paying the price ever since, and we're still paying the price with the mass incarceration of our communities. You could say, well, our communities are safer now than they were in the 90s, but why? It's not because of incarceration. If you're talking about Los Angeles, it's because of a concerted effort by elected officials and community organizers, the gang intervention community, intervention, prevention, people like Karen Bass, people like Martin Ludlow, Connie Rice, certainly Mayor Antonio Villaraigosa, who was at the forefront of this, that created partnerships between community and lawmakers to get resources into the community to create opportunities that could help bring crime down. You know what doesn't bring crime down? Even though, to be honest with you, if you care about data, which apparently most people don't, it is currently down when we're talking about violent crime. But what doesn't bring crime down? Showing pictures of it on TV repeatedly. You know what else doesn't bring crime down? More and more cops. All that does is spend up all our money so we have no funds for anything else. After school programs, educational programs, community support, street lights, which are down in many LA neighborhoods, but you want to get more cops and keep us in the dark. The definition of insanity. Doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. Call me now, 800-920-1580. We don't give up. We just keep it pushing. KBLA Talk 1580.
More of First Things First with Dominique DiPrima when we come forward.
I'm Mike Moore. Here's the latest from the Black Information Network. The suspect in an apparent assassination attempt on former President Trump at a Florida golf course is being denied bond. Ryan Ruth appeared Monday in a West Palm Beach federal court. A judge denied Ruth bond after hearing from federal prosecutors and the defense. A lawyer who represented George Floyd's family is now working for Tyreek Hill. The African-American Dolphins wide receiver announced yesterday he hired civil rights attorney Devin Jacob. Hill wants the Miami-Dade police officer who handcuffed him in a traffic stop 2 weeks ago to be fired. Some lactate milk is being recalled in over 24 states. The FDA reports the products may contain trace amounts of almonds that are not listed on the ingredient label. The recall applies to 96-ounce containers of Lactate's whole, 2%, 1%, and fat-free milk. And that's the latest. I'm Mike Moore from your 24/7 news source, the Black Information Network, and BINnews.com.
Bank of America has powerful digital solutions for local and global businesses, so you can make every move matter. Visit bankofamerica.com/banking for business to learn more. Bank of America N.A. Copyright 2024.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
Big time series coming up for the Dodgers at home. The San Diego Padres are in town for 3 games starting tonight. The Padres have won 4 straight and trailed the Dodgers by 3 games in the NL West Division in the final week of the regular season. If the Dodgers can pull off a sweep, they will clinch the NL West title for the 3rd straight year. X-rays on the left ankle of Chargers quarterback Justin Herbert were negative. The Chargers don't know if Herbert will be able to play in Sunday's home game against Kansas City. Chargers safety Derwin James definitely will not be playing Sunday. The NFL suspended him for 1 game without pay for repeated violations of safety rules. James has 5 unnecessary roughness penalties since the start of the 2023 season. He got his 5th on Sunday in Pittsburgh. The 1-game suspension will cost James $750,000. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
Looks like Bobby needs a ride again.
Grab the keys.
keys. Let's take an auntie to the swap meet.
Grab the keys.
Whether you're giving rides or hauling gear, do it all in a Chevy SUV. Head to your local Chevy dealer, where well-qualified buyers get 1.9% APR on all 2024 Silverado 1500, Blazer EV, Equinox, Trailblazer, and Colorado models. Chevrolet, together, let's drive.
1.9% APR for 36 months. Monthly payment is $2,860 for every $1,000 you finance. Example down payment 12.7%. Must finance with GM Financial. Some customers may not qualify. Not available with lease and some other offers. Take new retail delivery by 9/30/24.
October 2nd is California Clean Air Day. Go Metro for free and help cut down on pollution and traffic. It's our way of thanking you because every ride makes a difference. Let's clear the air together. Ready to go right now? Head to metro.net. Hey, LA residents, it's planting season and the perfect time to get shade trees growing around your home. LADWP and City Plants are giving every resident up to 7 free trees. That's right, 7 free trees delivered right to your door. Trees are great for the environment, help improve air quality, and can help you save on your bill when you use less air conditioning to stay cool indoors. Learn more at ladwp.com/free trees. That's ladwp.com/free trees.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 believes in community empowerment through the arts. Tia Chucha Central Cultural is on a mission to transform community in the Northeast San Fernando Valley and beyond through ancestral knowledge, the arts, literacy, and creative engagement. The Northeast San Fernando Valley has a population of about 500,000, the size of the city of Oakland, yet it has no bookstores, art galleries, or full-fledged cultural spaces until Tia Chucha's opened its doors in 2001. Founded by renowned poet and activist Luis Rodriguez, Tia Chucha's Cultural Center provides a year-round free or low-cost arts and literacy bilingual intergenerational programming in mural painting, music, dance, writing, visual arts, healing art sessions, and healing talking circles. Activities also include Mexica, Aztec dance, indigenous cosmology, philosophy, and 2 weekly open mic nights, one in Spanish, the other in English. In addition, they host author readings, film screenings, and art exhibits. To express yourself, heal yourself, attend an event, or volunteer, please visit www.tiachucha.org. That's TIACHUCHA.org. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
My friends swim no matter the season, but my moderate to severe plaque psoriasis can sometimes take me out of the moment. Now, thanks to Skyrizi and clear skin, count me in. With Skyrizi Risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection for adults who are candidates for systemic or phototherapy. 3 out of 4 people achieve 90% clear skin at 4 months.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions and an increased risk of infections or a lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check for infection and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms such as fever, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough, or if you plan to or recently received a vaccine.
Thanks to Skyrizi, there's nothing on my skin, and that means everything. Ask your doctor today about Skyrizi, the #1 dermatologist-prescribed biologic in psoriasis, and visit skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKYRIZI to learn more.
Thanks for waking up with Dominique DiPrima on KBLA Talk 1580.
I love our chat room so much in YouTube. I agree with you, Molly Bell. It's robust. It's always like full of varying opinions, and some folks who will never call that still make great points. 800-920-1580. If you do want to call, Trey said that asked me why am I blaming black folks for the racist crime bill. So I'm not sure if he thinks I'm talking about the Clinton crime bill, which is not what I was actually talking about, although it's along the same lines. I was talking about California Proposition 184, which was the 3 strikes law. And I don't mean to come off as if I'm blaming black people for that, but I was there, and a lot of us supported it. And so I'm not saying it lives or dies on us and our votes, although many times we are the margin of difference in elections on candidates and issues. But what I am saying is whether things pass or don't pass, it's frustrating and it saddens me to see us vote against our own best interest. And that is what I think is happening in several instances here, or could potentially happen, i.e. if you guys decide to vote yes on Proposition 36 because somebody somehow convinces you that it's going to make crime go down, even though what it's doing is reversing many of the reforms that we put in place through Proposition 47, which allow people who have already done their time to have another chance, to not have double and triple jeopardy of being locked out of the system by their records. These are the things we said we wanted in 2020 when we were marching, that we fought for, that we organized for. And so that's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the district attorney's race, where you have an actual Republican who's now an independent, who is backed by Steve Cooley, Jackie Lacey, the district attorneys of old, who would like to turn back the clock to the over-incarceration, overcharging of Black and Latino people, which is what they did. And it's not my opinion, it's what the data shows. And the under-accountability and prosecution of law enforcement, which is why every law enforcement association backs Nathan Hochman. I mean, that's what I'm talking about. Don't be scared. You can call me. I'm not scary. Well, unless you're James Farr, I guess. But, you know, James was talking all that smack on social media. And he loves to post clips from our shows. And he's not scared anyway. He's a Virgo. They're tough. He'll be back Monday. Continue our conversation. It's like a series, right? It's an election series. But anyway, yeah. Good catch, Trey. That wasn't my intention to blame Black Americans for these backlashes and blacklashes. But sometimes we do play a part in our own demise, and I wish we would just stop. We get talking points in our heads. And this is why I do Talking Point Tuesday, because where did that come from? I think the day before yesterday, Janet Jackson said Kamala Harris is not black, is what she heard. She heard Kamala Harris is not black. Where did she hear that from? In this case, probably Randy Jackson, her manager, who's a big RFK supporter / MAGA guy. But Tariq Nasheed takes the ball and run with it. He posts a clip of Kamala Harris talking in general about young people prosecuting and tries to make it look like Kamala Harris is the person that prosecuted Michael Jackson, which is not the truth. And then people will be like, oh, well, yeah, I see that. No, we'll justify that. She's not black. Come on. Just do a quick Google search. Google search images. And you can answer your own question. Jeanette from Inglewood. Good morning.
Good morning, Dominique. Thank you for taking my call. You know, today must be that day that the devil is going to attack, because I, like you, was feeling a little dismayed this morning, because I had listened to part of the only other black radio station in California, and the Mayor Butts was on there as the special guest, and he was just saying a lot of things that I disagree with, didn't like, and it kind of made me angry because, in my opinion, he's very dismissive about things. And I just want to give you one example, because he talked about there's a lot of millionaires now in Inglewood. So a caller called in and said that millionaire status is basically a temporary one, because if they sell their $1 million home, where can they go and stay a millionaire?
Well, I mean, millionaire or no millionaire, where are you going to live, right? Yeah, that's a great point.
That's what he was saying.
Yeah.
And I agree with that. But he was like, no, you can go somewhere. He didn't say in California, but, you know, he just said you can go somewhere and keep that generational wealth and, you know, pass it on to your children. But, again, the caller didn't agree, and I don't either. He also talked a little bit about reparations. And I disagree with him on that. But one thing I do remember him saying, I remember everything, he said that it would be hard to do because you can't do it like they did with the Indians. He doesn't see that that's happening, and he used the words Indians, so I'm just repeating that. So, again, that's what I don't like about him. But I want to change this.
No, I was just going to say it's probably time to get him back on this show. It's been a while.
Yeah.
To be honest, I've never talked to him about reparations. And we've had a good relationship, but it's intermittent boxing in between because you're right. He's an interesting guy. He has some very conservative views and he has some more liberal views. And yeah, well, reparations is hard to do. So is building a stadium. Let's make it happen.
Yeah, he also talked a little bit about the gentrification and one man. But anyway, I won't go into that because I don't know all of what he said. But I just want to say this for you and me about being dismayed today. There's a scripture that says faith comes by hearing. I know the rest of the scripture, but I won't quote it because faith for anything comes by hearing. So if you and Paul continues to say the things that you guys was talking about last Friday about what Biden and Kamala Harris has done, like for the middle class tax and lowering medical costs and all the other things that you guys have said, those of us that's listening, we hear you. And we will do the right thing when it comes time to vote. And when you start talking about those propositions, we hear you, and we will do the right thing. That's all I want to say, because faith comes by hearing.
I love that, Jeanette. Thank you for talking me off the ledge, and hopefully I can help talk you off the ledge. I mean, we have to do that for each other and for ourselves. I was when I was walking into work today, I walk in with somebody, and I was talking to myself when I walked up because I was talking myself off the ledge. And so I think you're right, Jeanette. We it's our job to stay encouraged, and we have the Most High, the Infinite, to lean on. And it's not just me. Like it's us talking to each other on and off the air in the chat. I think part of that is going on X or Twitter, which is not the most friendly space. So.
And now what we don't want, we'll have what we want.
Yes. Oh, is she going to pull the Sahara Ali out the bag on me and focus on what you want, not what you don't want? You're right, though. That's absolutely right.
We got to speak it, though. Speak what we want and not what we don't want.
Yeah.
I speak it. Kamala Harris is the president.
Speak it into existence.
That's right.
Yeah.
Thank
President
you,
Harris and Vice President Walz this week did the following. Yes. I love that, Jeanette. Thank you for you always have great energy. And they're saying they're scared to call in. Don't be scared to call in. I'm not that bad. And Molly Bell says she heard the same thing on that other radio station, which I worked at for many, many years. Yeah. And that's tricky. I mean, look, with most all elected officials, it's going to be a mixed bag. You're not going to agree with everything they say. But our job as journalists is to try to hold them accountable and at the same time support the initiatives and projects that they create that are beneficial to us and to our communities. That's how I see it. And also to shine light. I mean, look, when I do election season interviews, I really try my best to give everyone the same amount of tough questions, the same amount of easy questions, and be fair so you guys can decide. Like, I'm not going to say the trope, well, I won't tell you who to vote for. I actually will. You don't have to listen. That's why you have your own head, and I have my own head, because we have our own brains, our own free will. But I'm going to try to give you information so you can make up your own mind or agree or disagree with me based on facts and data, not just what I said. I'm going to say it and then back it up. And I'm willing to have my mind changed too. Like, none of it is set in stone. It's based on facts. So if you can give me evidence-based reasons why what I'm saying is not right, I'm good with that. I want the truth. I don't want just talking points. Happy Talking Point Tuesday from KBLA Talk 1580.
A safe place to go loud. A great place for progressive politics. KBLA Talk 1580.
Black Women for Wellness and Stand LA are standing up against harmful oil drilling in South Los Angeles. Our Bad Neighbors campaign exposes the serious health risks of drilling in our neighborhoods. You've seen the billboards, posters, and coffee sleeves around South LA. Now join the movement to protect our health, our families, and our future.
Visit bwwla.org/no-drilling to learn more and get involved. That's bwwla.org/no-drilling.
Always night pads are designed for a perfect night's sleep, so you can do your bear hugging a pillow thing, your free falling starfish thing, your burritoed in a blanket with the AC blasting thing. While Always night pads with rapid dry do their we've got your back with fast absorbency and up to 10 hours of protection thing. So while your period's doing its own thing, Always lets you do your sleep thing. Shop for Always in-store or online, wherever you get your pads.
Moments like hearing my cat purr good morning mean a lot to me. But after being diagnosed with metastatic breast cancer, or MBC, which is breast cancer that is spread to other parts of the body, they mean even more. I take Ibrance, palbociclib. Ibrance 125 milligram tablets with an aromatase inhibitor is for adults with HR-positive, HER2-negative MBC as the first hormonal-based therapy. Ask your doctor about Ibrance and visit Ibrance.com. Ibrance may cause low white blood cell counts that may lead to serious infections. Ibrance may cause severe inflammation of the lungs. Both of these can lead to death. Tell your doctor right away if you have new or worsening symptoms, including trouble breathing, shortness of breath, cough, or chest pain. Before taking Ibrance, tell your doctor if you have fever, chills, or other signs of infection, liver or kidney problems, are or plan to become pregnant, or are breastfeeding. Common side effects include low red blood cell and low platelet counts, infections, tiredness, nausea, sore mouth, abnormalities in liver blood tests, diarrhea, hair thinning or loss, vomiting, rash, and loss of appetite.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. Legal Aid Foundation of Los Angeles is a nonprofit law firm that protects and advances the rights of the most underserved, leveling the playing field and ensuring that everyone can have access to the justice system. Every year, LAFLA provides free, high-quality legal services to more than 100,000 people living in poverty across greater Los Angeles. Their unique combination of neighborhood offices, self-help centers at courthouses, and domestic violence clinics puts Legal Aid Foundation of Los Angeles on the front lines in vulnerable communities and at the forefront of change. LAFLA's expert team of attorneys, paralegals, and support staff works to provide direct representation, offer counsel and advice, provide referrals, and educate the community about their legal rights through workshops and seminars. With locations all over LA, you can access their services or volunteer to help no matter where you live. And if you have an urgent issue, call 213-235-0060. That's 213-235-0060. To get legal help, make a donation, or volunteer, visit LAFLA.org. LAFLA.org. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Broadcasting live from Leimert Park, USA. Welcome back to your home for unapologetically progressive radio, KBLA Talk 1580.
So I think that Governor Gavin Newsom is signing the bills as he sees fit. It's kind of a drip, drip, drip. That's what they always do, right? They have a certain amount of time to decide what they're going to sign and what they're not going to sign, and we get one here, one there, one here and one there. He just signed the bill to ban plastic bags. That's not going into effect till 2026, and it's kind of confusing because you're like, but we already banned plastic bags. Yeah, but then there was a loophole that was created by these grocery chains that said if they're considered reusable plastic bags, then they're still okay. So that's why you get the thicker ones, and the little writing on it says, you can use this bag again, but it's still a plastic bag. The ones that are supposed to be banned are those thin single-use ones. Well, now all of them are going to be out, and you're going to have to use paper. which is better for our planet, much better and super important. So I'm happy he signed that. Like I said, it goes into effect in 2026. Hopefully we will not have more loopholes to it, because what I'm reading is that many of the grocery stores, the chains and stuff, are now on board with this. And if you don't have your own bag, you're going to have to just go with paper. I remember having an argument with a famous person who I won't name about this, is saying, I like plastic bags. I'm going to vote to keep the plastic bags. I was like, I understand they come in handy for various things, but they're ruining the planet. I mean, if you go to the beach, if you go to the woods, if you go to Africa, in the middle of the most beautiful, pristine stretches of nature, you'll find plastic bags made in the U.S., made in China, and those microplastics seeping in to our bodies through the packaging, through everything else. And, you know, many of the more conscious chains are now using recyclable items, because there are things that appear to be like plastic that are actually made out of corn and other things. I see James Farr has entered the chat. He says, I ain't never scared. But a little wounded from the nails. Yeah, okay. I'm also wounded. But he said Mayor Butts claims that Inglewood isn't being gentrified, it's being integrated. And I feel like I've had that conversation with him before. Not I feel like, I know I did. Because it wasn't too long after that ongoing argument. He may have been a little wounded. I don't know, James. That they went ahead and passed rent control. And they did it ahead of many other cities. And that's another thing that's on the ballot. Oh, my goodness. I think it's Prop 23, if I'm not mistaken. That every time rent control is on the ballot, they say it's going to ruin affordable housing. It's going to force, you won't be able to, you know, as a mom and pop landlord, you won't be able to make money on your building, blah, blah, blah. And we always fall for it. I don't think we're going to fall for it this time, though, because I believe that the crisis of housing affordability in California has gotten so extreme that people are going to turn out and vote yes. And just to be clear, a yes vote on the rent control measure means cities will have the ability to enact their own rent control measures. It does not impose rent control on the state in terms of across the board for the Golden State. What it does is it repeals a law called Costa-Hawkins, which said that newer buildings can't be rent controlled at all. And so it's only the old buildings that can have rent control. It doesn't impose vacancy control. It doesn't even impose rent control. What it does is it frees up cities, counties to make their own rules, and they can regulate new housing. And that is super important. We need to get rid of Costa-Hawkins. Look, I am a big proponent of fair rules for mom and pop landlords, for individual owners. I think we need to do more. In the city of LA right now, we need to do more. You know, as far as renter protections, we need to do more to protect those mom and pop landlords. No argument from me there. But we have to pass rent control, because what it does is it allows cities to make their own rules, right? That also impact new housing, not just the old buildings, the new stock coming online right now. What's the point of building all of this new housing if we can't keep some of it affordable? So that's a yes. In my opinion, again, I'm always open to your arguments and thoughts. 800-920-1580. 800-920-1580. Ben Frank says, I'm a landlord, so I understand fully Yeah, that's true. And forensic accountant says all the people at the top of the chain are eating. Landlords, mom and pop landlords, and this is, I know, true in our community, deserve to be able to keep their housing that they own and make a profit. But gouging, we have to stop that. There has to be reasonable accommodation for people to be able to live where they work, to not have to drive 2 and 3 hours to find a decent home that they can afford. And Proposition 6, real basic, ending involuntary servitude, aka slavery, inside California prisons. Long overdue. Congresswoman Sidney Kamlager tried it, I think it was 2023, and it failed. Lawmakers arguing that it costs too much to pay people for their labor. Isn't that what plantation owners said? It's going to bankrupt us. We need free labor for our business model. Well, then you need a different business model. And by the way, Prop 6 doesn't mandate that prisoners be paid the minimum wage. I think that's a companion bill that someone needs to write. What it does is it says you cannot force people to work in prison. Forced labor is a thing in the carceral system. And so that's a big, loud, strong yes on 6. Tell a friend. We've got to pass 6 and defeat 36. I don't care. I do care. But I'll give you a pass if you don't vote for president. If you don't vote at the top of the ticket, I'll give you a pass. I'll even give you a pass if you don't vote for your congresspeople or governor. But there's no passes for Prop 36 and Prop 6. Those are too important. We're talking about enacting reparations. How are we going to do that if we're still allowing enslavement of our people inside these jail walls, these prison walls? It makes zero sense. We're going to talk reparations next hour, and then hour 3. We got a lot to talk about. The phone lines are always open. Right now it's news, traffic, and sports, only right here.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Mike Moore. Here's the latest from the Black Information Network. The suspect in an apparent assassination attempt on former President Trump at a Florida golf course is being denied